This is the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast with your host, Kevin Murray.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast. We have an extra special guest tonight, along with a ton of league mates. If you are a commissioner looking to enhance your league experience, well, this is obviously the episode for you. The legacy of our guest has been cemented in the fantasy football community. No one else on the planet can say that they were the 2024 Fantasy Football Commissioner of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Papa Staskiel. Welcome to the show, and welcome, league mates.
Hey.
There it is, man. You got the jacket, you got the shirt, you got the
belt,
necklace,
got the belt,
all the belts. The trophy smack, obviously. Oh, the ring.
Yes,
ring.
Trophy smack. I mean, it's crazy. First, thank you, Kevin. This is an awesome contest. The swag. I mean, it's crazy.
Looking good.
We got the ring. We got the jacket. The belt. The belt is crazy and heavy and amazing, and it looks awesome. This is awesome. It was a great contest. It was really cool. Total surprise by my league. I had literally no idea until like the night before that it was even nominated. Wow. Yeah, it was really, really cool. So
that's amazing. Yeah. So has anybody stopped you on the street yet? No. Anybody out there in the wild?
not exactly yet, but we got plans. We're gonna be. This is gonna become a situation for everybody, I think.
So I was gonna say, yeah, with all that swag, I mean, you're gonna get some attention out there. And again, thanks for Trophy Smack for putting a lot of that great stuff together. Obviously, thanks to Scott Fish. Obviously, you got a nomination or you got an entrance into SFB 15. Did you know much about the Scott Fish Bowl prior to this contest or getting that entrance?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've seen Scott Fish forever. I mean, he's like one of the OGs of making fantasy what it is now. And I love his whole the Scott Fish Bowl. I love his content, and it's crazy that I'm actually going to be able to be in the Scott Fish Bowl. That is not something that I ever thought would happen. It's absolutely insane.
It's amazing.
But that's really, really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, so obviously Scott Fish the Scott Fish Bowl has evolved too. There's live events going on, so I think you got to get yourself to a live Scott Fish Bowl event. They're all over the country these days, so we'll have to make sure that you can get into one of those because that's an extra special experience as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And before I say anything else, again, thanks to the panel of judges, you got JJ Zachariason from Late Round Fantasy, just an absolute icon in the fantasy space. Kendall Valenzuela from Fantasy Life, Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life, doing great things. You got Joey Wright from Football Guys. He's a community ambassador with Football Guys, and they're just a legendary brand and company as well. You got John Bosch, Ryan McDowell, and again, Scott Fish, just three extraordinary commissioners. And so it's very fitting that a commissioner like yourself won that award because it's some good company there, but it's crazy. You knocked it out of the park. Let's talk a little bit about the league. Obviously,
for sure.
What's the name of the league? Start with that.
So we call ourselves Greenskeeper Fantasy. We've been around since since college, so about 2014, 2013 we started, and we've been going strong since. It's been a couple different iterations, but this is definitely our strongest version of ourselves.
It's incredible. Yeah. So what inspired the league? And then when it comes to the origin of it, was there a lot of common connections between the league members?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're all best friends. We were best friends since college. I think like any league that started like then, it started just as like a thing to keep us together in college and a little bit after. And then when COVID happened, I think that actually made our league actually even stronger. I kind of took it upon myself to make sure that the league changed itself a little bit, and we changed the way that we did things. We added some new things, which we can talk about. And yeah, really, it was the live draft idea that I had for a couple years after COVID. But I think that was really what kept us going strong, and keeps us strong to this day.
That's a lot of us call him a hero, dude. Like a lot of us say, it was a crazy time to be in COVID. It was, I think, for everyone, obviously really traumatic time. For some of us, all of us split across the country, nobody to talk to. And there was Alex Staskiel, dude, ready to produce the league experience that any man would dream of for us. And he kept talking it up. He'll tell you about it, dude, but he wants to bring the people together in person despite our distances. And I think that's the thing, especially that his
exactly. Yeah. I think that we're probably not the first league to talk about getting together to do this kind of thing, but without the kind of, leadership from our commissioner, like, I don't think that it could have really happened. And it happened at a time that, I think a lot of us really needed something like this most. So, again.
Well, yeah, it was very evident, obviously. Yeah, in your testimonial video, let's talk about that a little bit, because that blew those judges away for sure, and obviously blew me away. And it was very obvious that your connections, your bonds are just so strong. Talk about that, because the getting everybody to submit videos and the way that you piece it all together. I mean, it was straight out of Hollywood. Talk about that, because that was amazing.
That's all. I'm gonna let Sam talk about that one. That is truly that is a Sam idea.
Dude, well, I saw the contest on Twitter and I was like, who would be the commissioner of the year? Obviously this guy. And you know what? It was easy to do. I threw it in the chat. And I said, hey, we should nominate him for commissioner of the year. And everyone was like, of course. It's, I didn't have to persuade anybody that he was the commissioner of the year. It's the plain truth before our eyes. He's the man himself. And so I put it in there. And I was like, let's interview you. Let's set it up. And I sent out the word and everyone was like, yes, let's get some interviews. I have half hour to 45-minute interviews of everyone regarding this. I had to make a hard cut to reduce only the absolute cream of what had to be said. There's another 90% of great things said by Alex Staskiel that's left on the cutting room floor. So, it was easy. It was easy for me. Every single person had a few truly great things to say about him. Chop them up, throw them together. You know what I mean? Mix it up. You've got a Alex Staskiel stew.
It's incredible. Yeah, seriously, you got to really slowly release a little bit at a time over the next 5 years, because I'm sure there's some great footage in there as well. Let's talk about the league a little bit when it comes to just the structure and the format of it. What do you guys play? How do you play? I know it's a large league. It's a 14-team league, right?
Right. So I think that's probably the only thing that will stay the same every single year. Everything else is left up to God. So literally what we do, we show up on draft night. I'm talking literally the night of the draft, which we now have as the first Thursday night football game of the regular season. So we draft on the first night of the regular season. And the first thing that we do before we draft players or anything like that, we roll every single thing on a roulette wheel. We're talking the basic stuff, PPR, how many quarterbacks you're going to have, how many running backs you're going to have, all of that stuff. And then it gets really, really, really wacky from there. We have some wild card rolls that can really make the game pretty dramatic and pretty fun. So yeah, everything, really, you have no idea how to predict the league until about 1 hour before draft. We then have all the rules, and you get about an hour to 30 minutes. We also roll that. We roll how long it is between the rolling of the rules and the draft time, so that you have to determine how much time you have to prep, and then it's draft.
Well, and that's the front side of the league experience, but then on the back side, you got the playoff. You have a playoff lottery as well.
Yeah. So that's probably our absolute that's one of our best things. I honestly think that every single league, both fantasy and real world, needs to implement this, because I think it solves every problem of tanking or opting out or just being disengaged. So it's as simple as every time you win a game, you get a lotto, what we call a lotto ticket. And that equates to, a classic roulette. I almost brought it out. No, not a roulette, a bingo wheel. And if, let's say, you have 8 wins on the season, but you didn't make the playoffs. You have 8 wins on the season, but you didn't make the playoffs. You now have 8 bingo balls that we put into the machine, and those are your 8 chances to get in. Last ball out of the bingo machine gets the playoff spot. And that keeps everybody engaged.
It's a small amount of playoff teams too, right?
Well, and it depends, because that also gets rolled. That also gets rolled. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Literally, if you think about it, literally every single thing that we do is pretty much going to be left up to a roll. So this year it was, what was it, four or five playoff teams?
We ended up with 5 total playoff teams, including the lottery team. The year before,
four who got in and a fifth wild card playoff team
Right.
through the lottery.
Amazing.
And then we only had 3 the previous year, which was crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
So how long have you been doing like the crazy settings and the rolling for
We started that in the like most basic form. That was about 3 years ago that we first came up with that idea, and it was much more simple the first time that we did it. Like just some basic stuff of like PPR, position limits, and stuff like that. And then we loved it so much, it was just like let's do literally everything that we can, determined by the rules.
I'll also say I think one thing a lot of leagues struggle with is like keeping everybody engaged, and I think the playoff lottery is one way to do that. But I think another way that this started was these wild card rules that Papa's telling you about. Those come throughout the year, so we have like a separate group chat just dedicated to ideas for rules. And so you never know on a random January morning or a random June morning in the middle of the off season, you could come up with a rule idea. And so by the time like this last off season, by the time we got to the time for our conventions, we have a convention a few months before the draft where we even determine what goes on the roulette wheel, because we have so many wildcard rule ideas from that chat. We have a running doc of them. And a roulette wheel is only so big. So we end up we end up having a convention where we roll for the rolls. And so, having the convention, having the chat about the rules, it keeps everybody involved, keeps everybody coming up with ideas for, wild and crazy stuff. And we even have like dedicated our social media to kind of sharing some of these rules out there. And so if anybody's curious, at Greenskeeper FF is our channel on X. And we're kind of posting just some, every now and then we're posting a rule of the day, like kind of a rule from the chat that could hypothetically end up in our league this year. And we absolutely encourage anybody to follow it, check it out, contribute their ideas of their own. We would love nothing more.
I love that. Now, how long does it take to do the whole rolling, the roulette thing, and getting those settings? Like, how long is that process in the draft experience part?
Yeah, the first time that we did it, it probably like that was I'm trying to think that was San Antonio draft. The first time that we did like the full ceremony, and it took us a while because it was new. It was like, oh, we have everything. That was probably like an hour and a half. But we're getting faster every year. We keep it down. But it's honestly, it's so fun. It's honestly, it's probably my favorite part of the draft experience, because then the draft itself, that's anxiety filled and crazy. I like the rolls. It's fun. It's cool.
And also, honestly, everybody's just been hyping. It's the rolls are the first thing we do when we arrive at the draft, and usually we've planned live draft for so long, so we're all kind of arriving at that time. We've all hyped up the rolls in our mind. So even though it takes maybe an hour and a half, we're also all kind of catching up at the same time too. So it's like a good way to start off the big live draft weekend.
And we've got a mobile roulette wheel. So like last year we did it poolside. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We were rolling the rolls out there. We were catching the fading rays.
I was rolling.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was the winner, I guess 2 seasons back now. And so I had to do all the rolling this past year. And honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm not like a super fan of fantasy football, but I think that all of the different rules create a level playing field to where I can still have fun with my friends, and I don't need a PhD in, ball sports or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
That's
yeah,
great.
I think to exactly to sort of dovetail off that point, I think that sort of like Kevin, I'm not exactly like an aficionado when it comes to fantasy football, but sort of in the same way that having rules and like sort of modularity like this can invigorate someone who's played it forever, it can also make it really inviting for someone who maybe just wants to hang out with their friends in the first place and have a great time doing something together. And another thing that like this league that Papa sort of has led for us, but like something that we all do together, I think, is this using the league as an outlet for creativity in general. You know, not only just like the live draft weekends that we have every year, the chats where we come up with rules constantly. I mean, constantly. Like I get buzzes at work to my phone all the time, and it's just rules. Rules all day.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a perfect example of how great a fantasy league can be, because, like you said, you're not, a couple of you, I guess, aren't diehard fantasy consumers, but you're diehard for the experience you're sharing together. Because
Right.
that's what it's about. That's why I love fantasy football and the league experience and commissioning. Because I love creating something that my friends, and like my home league, it's friends from junior high, high school, elementary, college, and family members all blended together. So it's like it goes so far beyond the game, and so you're using this game to obviously stay connected and have fun, but just taking it to another level. It's fantastic.
No, I think for sure. I think what's funny is like I didn't even think about it until this like happened. But yeah, like Judson and Kevin are not like fantasy football fans, not even really like hardcore NFL fans. But then you got like me, Sam, and Ali, which we're like football freaks. Like we consume this shit pretty much 24/7, and it's
Yeah.
what we like. It's what we like live for. But it makes, like Kevin said, it makes it fair because you don't know. Like there's no point in me planning for like Sam has a different philosophy. Sam plans for all the different versions of what could happen. Me, I'm just like, there's no point in me planning because I don't know what the league is going to be like until an hour before the draft. So I'm just going to let it happen. We'll see what I'll know the players I kind of like and go from there. It doesn't matter. It'll just be fun.
I think that's true. Like I'm like maybe like one of the more extreme planners of our group.
The most extreme.
And-
Yeah, give yourself some credit.
And I'm maybe the most extreme planner, but Kevin like is not a planner, and we won the league in back-to-back years.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Actually, yeah, that's crazy.
And I think the expression is styles make fights, right? And so I think that all these various levels of involvement also make it interesting once the matchups actually happen too.
Yeah, it creates rivalries for sure. Now, you guys, obviously you got, say, 14 members. Like, what's the average amount of leagues that you guys play in? Like, is it just the one, or does most people have a couple leagues?
I mean, I know for me, I literally like this is my league. I don't do anything else. This is my league. It's enough. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but
I'm in a couple other leagues just through like work, but like I devote maybe combined to those other two leagues 10% of the attention that I put towards this one.
Right.
And
awesome.
also they're so simple too. They feel, once you experience the roles and the variety and the uniqueness of this league, like going back to the standard league is like going from driving a Ferrari to going back to driving a Camry. So it doesn't quite feel the same.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Now let's talk about the live drafts you guys have done, the destination drafts, obviously some of the fun memories, some of the places you've been, and share just some of the details around those trips.
For sure. My favorite idea. It started the first live draft we did was in New Orleans, which, that's the best party city in the world right there. And it was super, super fun. I mean, we were coming off really that tail end of, being stuck in houses and not doing any vacation for a long time. And we all came together. And a lot of us hadn't even seen each other since college. But we were living like in the group chat and in our phones, right? And connecting through that. And it was crazy. Like I would say as soon as we all got into New Orleans, it was like liftoff. I mean, it was literally just like we were back in college with each other again, just for like a short weekend, a way, way, way too short weekend. I remember like the drive back from actually I drove back with Kevin, and the drive back from New Orleans to Houston, I was like getting emotional because I was like, God, I like this. I can't like not have this happen again. Like, I knew it could be like a fleeting thing. I knew it could be like a one-time thing. But I really wanted to make sure that it kept on going. And then the second live draft, and this was actually, I think this is the testament to the guys, because I actually didn't even get to go to the second live draft. My second daughter was born right before the second live draft, and I didn't get to go, but it still happened. And it was great. It was in Atlanta, and then we've done San Antonio, and last year was Nashville, and then this year we're going to Chicago, and I think Chicago is going to be the best one yet. Super
Well, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the future, the future draft ahead. But I am thinking one destination. I think that it's been, people have been talking about you guys a little bit. We got this Fantasy Football Expo. If you've heard about it, it's the Fantasy Football Expo. It's an event that takes place every August in Canton, Ohio. I talked to some people in charge there, and they want you guys to come out and draft at the Hall of Fame at some point. Whether you want to do it,
Whoa.
obviously you got Chicago all booked, but next season, I'm telling you, if you've got others lined up, I'm sure you're looking at cities ahead. But Canton, Ohio, you guys would be more than welcome. Set you up in the Hall of Fame. It'd be pretty spectacular.
Whoa. Well, that sounds like quite the treat. I don't know what to say. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, we'll have to hook up about that. I mean, that sounds awesome. I mean, my goodness.
The coolest thing, the Fantasy Football Expo. It's I mean, basically, 1,000 people from the fantasy community, analysts and experts, and fans and consumers all kind of meet up there. It's like a 3 or 4 day weekend event. It's spectacular. It's tons of fun. The expos, awesome. You're going to booth to booth, there's speakers and all that, but it's really all the events around it that make it special. Guys be more than welcome in that space, and I think that people would really enjoy, meeting you guys and hearing more about it. So let's definitely talk about the expo in the future. Yes. Obviously, you got Chicago ahead of you. Yeah. Before we get into the plans for 2025, let's talk a little bit more about the league. Like, some of the rituals, some of the things, the inside jokes you guys got. Any fun stories on that front? Yeah,
I mean, it's all like I think our league's about pageantry. You have to have some pageantry. That's the whole trick and the whole key. I think every live draft. It's honestly funny. Like it's my favorite thing to plan. I think about it pretty much from the moment that live draft ends. I'm thinking like, okay, what can we do next? And obviously with these guys, it's easy. Like it's mostly just about get the guys together in a place that geographically makes sense. We like that everyone is like easily able to get to. Now that we have like a set date, that's easy. And then once we're there, I mean, I just want to make sure that we have basically one big fun activity that we can do every day. So it's like a 4-day experience. So Thursday night, it's the draft. Obviously, there's nothing else going on. That's the draft, and that's a whole ton of craziness. But then, like this last year, we did the boat thing. We got we had a booze cruise. It was awesome. Went out on the lake. It was a pretty great experience. I'll let other people speak to the lake. But I think that's the whole trick. You got to just do the basic work of like having one fun thing a day that everybody can participate in, and then everything else takes care of itself.
We'll talk about the basic work, dude.
The basic work. He's doing so much work. It's like, it's like one thing to go do every day. This is not like he's like, I found a restaurant for us to go to or something. He's like,
and we're talking about a 14-person league.
Yeah,
like so much. It's so much effort on the front end by him, like booking the house, like booking the stuff, like
that's the hardest thing.
Leaving his credit card as the deposit, like all of this stuff. Like it would not happen. We're not for Alan Staskiel out there producing the league and all of the events.
Yeah.
What's the story with the school bus?
Oh, well, I think we have
which school bus?
Which one? There's a couple different school bus stories. I mean, the funniest school bus story is definitely the river on San Antonio when the school bus died on the way to the river. That was crazy. We did a float down when we were in San Antonio. We did a float down the river, and we took it. Oh yeah, the bus is right there, right behind us. There's the bus.
Right.
And that bus, like maybe 30 feet before not 30 feet, like.
But close.
A couple miles before like we actually got to the river, it starts to like billow smoke behind us. We're like, it's smoking back there. Like, what are we doing? But we got there and it was fun. It was hot, but it was really, really fun.
I love it. Experiences like that, memories like that. I mean, it's what makes a fantasy league special and fun. Talk a little bit about obviously the engagement. You guys got a podcast. You do a podcast. Like, how do you keep everybody in the loop? I mean, obviously, you got group chats, podcasts, that kind of stuff.
Nelson's our podcast host.
So that sort of grew organically out of I sort of mentioned that the group chat and the fantasy in the league is sort of a great place for creativity for everybody. And one of the longest running traditions is the power rankings that we produce every week. Whoever scores the most fantasy points that week is it's both an honor and a duty to produce the power rankings that week. And they started out written and pretty standard, very straight like football type stuff.
Yeah.
But knowing some of the creatives in the league, they started to have themes. I think I did one totally like it was written for the script of the movie The Lighthouse once, I think.
That was great.
It's like really, really weird. And then as things went on, we'd kind of run that idea probably as far as that's not true. We probably could produce those forever. But one time it was my turn to do the power rankings, and I just had the idea to wouldn't it be funny if I produced it like an episode of a podcast? And I think it was Papa actually who replied, "Is like, I hope that you're prepared to do this for everybody from now on, because this is how we're doing it from now on." And that's how the Greenskeeper Fantasy Football Cast started. It is something that is my pleasure to do. Well, not only is it a creative outlet for me to produce, but again, it is a way to selfishly for me to get to chat one-on-one with at least one of my friends who I don't get to see face-to-face that often, and they get to say mean things about most everybody else's football team for a while. And what's not to like? And I think that it's everyone is so funny and creative that I think it's something that is easy listening for anybody who's a fan of just fantasy football, humor, or just clearly people who are having a good time hanging out with each other.
Well, yeah, you guys have an incredible group. Like again, watching these submissions, but it's not just the video. Like the submissions. I mean, I'm getting letters. We're getting poems. We're getting songs. Like
artwork.
The amount of people that did something creative to nominate Papa Staskiel was unreal. Like at first I was like, this is fake. Like these guys are actors. These guys are paid actors. You can't get this group, this dynamic group of just individuals to come together unless there's something behind the scenes like this. So the fact that you guys are here right now, like the fact that you're continuing this whole thing where you're like paid actors are now coming on this show, like you're doing a great job. Seriously, like it's an amazing group, and it's very clear that you guys, obviously you have great bonds together, but the creativity obviously fuels this fantasy experience that most people should strive for, because it's, again, the fantasy experience is so special. Everything you're doing is making it awesome. When it comes to just prizes, do you guys have trophies? Are you guys doing anything like that?
I mean, we've never really done like a trophy. Now that I heard about Trophy Smack, though, we're gonna be in touch about some Trophy Smack stuff, because this stuff is
nice.
Cool. So one of the things that we roll every year is league dues. So there's some money thrown in the pot. Nothing like too crazy though. I think the range goes from if I remember right, we set the range to like $50 to $150. And that just gets rolled, and then when it's usually, I think it also gets rolled whether it's winner take all or the second place gets their money back. Usually it ends up being winner take all. And then honestly, though I've said I've never won this league, is a tragedy that I haven't. I do not care about the money at all. I just want to win this league, and if I win this league, it'll be the greatest accomplishment. My children are asleep, so I can say that. It'll be the greatest accomplishment of my life. And that is all I want to do. And it's been 10 years. It's been so long. Let me win. I just want to win.
That's what it's about, man. I mean, it's not the money, right? It's the pride. It's exactly. And that's where Trophy Smack definitely comes together. Sorry, Trophy Smack. Right. I mean, you get a trophy that kind of like symbolizes that pride. I mean, it's
sure,
pretty cool. It's pretty fun.
No, I think definitely and I've been looking on Trophy Smack since you plugged it, and we definitely are gonna.
They've got a lot of good social media videos too that show off there.
Dude, yeah, it's crazy.
Lots of inspiration down the pipipeline.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be using some Trophy Smack stuff, really this season. We have, and we typically have like a last place punishment that the champion gets to decide. It's usually implemented like at draft. The champ gets to tell the last place person like to do something essentially. And that's but it's not, like again, it's like our league. It's truly about like we could be playing for corn puffs. I don't care. I just want to win. It's pride and it's fun. That's really what matters.
Well, from a commissioner perspective, sorry.
I'm sorry. The other thing you win as a champion, you get the right to decide how the draft is ordered the next year.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's really
like
big.
Judson one year had us race to the Alamo from our Airbnb. Staskiel hitchhiked. You couldn't.
I was debating whether or not to bring that up earlier.
No, that was the greatest one.
So let's be clear. This is the live draft in San Antonio. Some of us live in San Antonio. Some of us are coming from other cities. But we are arriving for live draft. Not only have we not had the rolls yet, we have no idea what Judson has decided for how our draft order is going to go. So some of us are at the Airbnb. Some of us are en route to the Airbnb. Some of us have gone to grab food. And simultaneously, our group chat gets hit with a message from Judson saying, here I am at the Alamo, whoever the first person is to come meet me without driving a car themselves or calling an Uber or Lyft. So your choices were to either hitchhike, take public transportation, or run, which various members of our group did all three of those different choices to try and get to the Alamo Bowl, which is about 3-ish miles away. As
like 110 degrees.
In 110 degree heat in August
So
in San Antonio. But we'll go to extraordinary heights for the competitive parts of the city. So, that's definitely an all-timer story for sure. Is the run to the Alamo.
Right. No, I was I knew something was up because I was literally playing a beer pong game with Sam, and in the middle of the game, I've played many beer pong games with Sam. In the middle of the game, he looks at me and he turns around, he runs out the door. I was like, what has happened? He got a little sneak preview from Judson of what was happening, or maybe he read it before I did. I don't know. Regardless, I think there was a little sneaky 5-minute head start for Sam. I see him running and I'm like, oh, something's happened. I start running and then I see it on my phone, like get to the Alamo, and I'm trying to like huff and puff for. It felt like I ran for like half an hour. I think I ran for 35 seconds. And I barely get down the street because it's 110 degrees. I see a car and I wave down the car, and luckily the guy pulled over, and I'm like, hey, I will give you $50 if you drive me to the Alamo a mile away for my fantasy football league. And he did. I think he thought I was crazy, but it worked out. It was great.
Well, it sounds like there's some collusion there. Yeah, someone got a tip.
I mean, there's always collusion. It's okay. You gotta let things happen.
I will just say,
you gotta play the intelligence game in this league, dude.
You asked us earlier about inside jokes or inside stories, and I feel like we wouldn't be remiss. Like we gotta share another one as well, which is the story of Double Debo. So I'm sure this is maybe like a foible that's happened in other leagues where, when you're drafting with a board and physical stickers like we do, right? We don't draft on the computer since we're all in person. That maybe, somebody who isn't paying attention grabs the wrong sticker. And a few years ago in our draft, we had this occur. One of our league members meant to pick Deebo Samuel, grabbed the sticker for Curtis Samuel, put it on the board, and chaos ensued. And from there, through the process of our live draft, a different league member who was not involved in the incident came up with the solution of Double Debo for us to create 2 Deebo Samuels in our league and let each member have both. And I think you want to talk about why Alex Staskiel won this award. The fact that our league, not only that our league survived the Double Debo fight, that each individual member is still alive after the Double Debo fight is a testament to him. And I'll just let Papa speak to how we ended up having to settle the Double Debo dispute and all the hurdles.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll say this, and I don't know, we have one rule. We have very basic things that go back to the very, very first day that this league was founded, 12 years ago when we were all still in college. One of them is the power rankings. That's one of the things that has always stayed constant. The other rule, it's our golden rule that we try never to forget, and it's you get effed. That's the number one thing. You have to, if you're going to join the league, you have to accept that fantasy is unfair, football is unfair, bad things will happen to you, and it's okay. Bad things will happen to you some years. Maybe you get lucky. That's good for you. But in general, it's an unfair game, and you embrace how unfair it is. And I said from the start, I was always on the side. He put the wrong sticker on. We know what that means. That's the consequence. He's just going to have to deal with Curtis Samuel, even though he meant Debo Samuel, and that's fine. It was like Curtis Samuel in the second or third round too. It was crazy. But regardless, we were trying. I was in a very. I had entered a new healthy. I had a new therapist, new healthy mindset, and I thought I won't be the supreme ruler anymore. I'll let other people come in, and we'll have like we'll have shared rulings and all that stuff. Terrible idea, terrible system. You have to have one ruler. We do not, so we got rid of that. And yeah, I don't even really remember. It was literally a season-long process of how this thing got resolved. Really, a 2-season-long process. There were feelings for years about Double Debo.
It almost blew up the league. Like, it
really did.
Almost brought that league apart.
Yeah. But we ended up all right, and obviously everything's great. But it's funny how one little sticker can have such an impact. But that's okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, you guys could definitely be like the league when it comes to a TV show. Like these stories are just perfect for Hollywood. So maybe that's down the road. A reality TV show for a fantasy league. It's perfect for you guys. So Papa, what's
Greenskeeper Productions down the line.
There you go. What's the biggest lesson you've learned as a commissioner over the years, Papa?
I think the biggest thing is that there's obviously like a bunch of funny answers, keep me in charge and all those things. But I think the serious answer is that these are my absolute best friends in the entire world. They were when I was 18 years old, and now I'm 33 years old, and that is insanely rare to have this many friends, to feel this connected. And I know that's rare because I talked to my dad about it. My dad had, and I remember growing up and I was like, my dad didn't have friends. That wasn't their style. I mean, he had his wife, he had that, but he didn't have anything like this. And I realized just how insanely rare this is, how lucky I am, and I'll do anything I can to keep it going for forever because it's rare, it's lucky. It doesn't feel like, it's never felt like work, even though it can be a lot of work, and it is. It's done in the name of friends, and that's really what matters. So I guess that's my biggest lesson is if you love the people in your league, consider yourself lucky and just do everything you can for them, because they will always come back for you, and eventually you get nominated for an award like this, and it feels awesome, and it's it's the highlight of your year.
I love it. No, that's a great message for sure. Now, when it comes to 2025, let's talk about the innovations, the things that are coming for your league in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, so we got Live Draft Chicago, which I'm super excited for. I've wanted to do Chicago forever. It's gonna be, obviously it's Chicago in September. It's gonna be beautiful weather for that 1 month of year that Chicago's the most beautiful city on the earth. So I'm super excited for that. It's a great city. As far as innovations and stuff, that's just the nature of the league. We got some new roles coming up. The one today was the Pokemon role. That one sounds really, really fun. And yeah, I mean, the league changes literally every single day because we come up with new stuff every single day, and then we don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, I think I'm mostly just excited for the live draft experience, getting together with the guys again. We have some really fun stuff planned. We're gonna have a little fantasy commissioner of the year parade in Boys Town, and we're gonna do that. That's gonna be really, really fun. So yeah, we're excited.
I can't wait. Yeah, obviously love to have you back after it's all said and done to highlight what you did to set the bar in 2025.
Yeah, for sure.
And I will say, if you want to keep updated on those roles, again, we're posting a roll of the day at Greenskeeper FF on X. So if anybody's curious, interested in the wacky and wild stuff we're coming up with, we're posting a new roll up there every single day. And again, feel free to send us some of your own as well.
Yeah, we'll have to blow that account up for sure because, yeah, we need to inspire more commissioners out there because you guys all know that the commissioner plays a huge role in just creating that great fantasy experience that, again, goes beyond the game. It's, you got to keep those connections together and keep those friendships thriving and stay connected. And that's what a great commissioner does. So that's awesome that
for sure.
that you guys have good big plans for inspiring others in this space. Now, when it comes to some rapid fire questions, I'm just going to throw out some questions. You got anybody can answer, but I'd love to hear a little bit more, some fun stuff with the league. What's the funniest thing that's ever happened at a league event?
We got to talk to our lawyer first before we answer that.
I mean,
approval.
Right.
Run to the Alamo was pretty epic.
Run to the Alamo was pretty hilarious. That was my first thought as well. Run to the Alamo was pretty hilarious.
One evening, we had a gentleman in our league. He fell into a deep sleep, exhausted by the day's activities, and he fell asleep in the league house. And we came back to him, and we constructed a Jenga tower on top of him, and we worked together. You know what I mean? It's a league to
and I think that picture ended up on the championship.
I think so as well. I think it appeared in our reel there. That was good. That was a good one.
Sorry, I was gonna say the original live draft story from OG Live Draft, where we had one of our league mates who had, a really, really fun time on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and then a not so fun time on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And then as a result, we had we had a door at our Airbnb have a nice little foot-size hole right through that door, and that was pretty funny.
I was going to ask about the door. Yeah, how?
We kicked down doors in our league.
Gotta talk about
fine. Yeah, we kicked down doors in our league. It was. I mean, I think it was mostly funny too because it came from probably our most unassuming member of the league for it to happen to. And when it happened, he's the best. And then when it happened, we were luckily the Airbnb that we were at. They were super, super chill. I messaged the owner right away. I was like, "Hey, this happened," and she was super chill, like way too chill about it, but super chill. Shout out Juanita. And then I gave the league mate a little bit of a hard time. He texted me. He was like, "I'll put, how much does it cost?" And I was like, "Dude, it's crazy. It's like an antique door. It's like $14,000." I when I sent the text, I was like, I'll put originally I put $1,400 because I was like, wait, that's probably too believable. Like $1,400 for a door could happen. So I added a zero, thinking he's gonna know that's an exaggeration. No, apparently he did not. He freaked. I was very worried, very upset. I was like, no, dude, you're fine. It was like $200. Like it was not a big deal.
Awesome. What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened at a league event?
I mean, I'll share mine because there's probably too much. I would say my embarrassing moment was I spent this live draft. I spent the entire ride on the boat asleep because I had way too much fun on the actual draft night, and that happens sometimes. It was pretty silly.
Yeah, that can happen. Oh, who's got the best team name in the league?
It's got to be Chance Raymond. Chance Raymond was a notorious name.
Yeah. So, and there's one thing is sometimes for our draft order, for some special rules or things like that, we've gotten some cameos in the past. And so we've had some of those team names read out by some cameo hosts that I think were pretty funny. And so we had Scott Hansen from Red Zone fame reading out some of our roulette wheel spins one year, and he had to go through the process of telling us about a team, Chance's Butt Chubbers. And so you hear that from the voice of NFL Red Zone. That was quite funny.
Oh man, how about is there any decision you've made that you've just instantly regretted as a commish?
Yeah, double Debo. Not even a question. Yeah. I mean, I knew it. I knew it right. I knew it as it was happening. I was like, this is going to be a disaster. We have one rule in our league. We've had it since we were 20 years old, and it has served us well. Why are we going against our one rule? It made no sense to me. And we'll never make that mistake again.
Yeah, to speak of turning things into traditions, I think the next thing on our production docket, as far as documentaries go, is a feature here on the Double Debo saga. That's
so bad.
Our resident documentarian Sam is working with me on that. we're laying the groundwork for that now. So that will be coming from Greenskeeper Productions here soon, so that everybody can get.
Yo, I talked to my therapist for 3 hours about Double Debo. 3 hours of professional therapy about Double Debo. That's hundreds of dollars spent to process this.
And we probably went through hours of therapy in conversations with Judson. So if you're looking for that, look for us on Greenskeeper, the official Greenskeeper podcast on Spotify, and or wherever you find your podcast. So that's where you'll be able to not only be able to go back through all our old power rankings, but you can also check out that coming soon, the saga of Double Debo.
It's coming your way.
Love it. What's the biggest rivalry in the league?
Chance and Ryan.
Everybody all the time.
Yeah, everybody all the time versus Ryan. But Chance and Ryan is something that goes quite a ways back. It's probably our only actual personal rivalry in the league, and it's great. And yeah, it's fun. It's the matchup I look forward to all year. Because they pretend that they don't care about it, but they care so much.
I will say one thing that was interesting about this last season in particular is that we had a rule. One of our wildcard rules this year was that you had mates. So the team you played week 1 was also the team you played the last week of the regular season. Okay. And the way it happened to break this year, those two of those same matchups ended up being our semifinals as well. So we had teams play each other 3 times in 1 year on both sides of our bracket this year. So that created some rivalries as well, for sure.
Now, you guys do have a setting where you, what was it? Oh, no, for your waiver wires. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that's a really cool way to do.
Oh, dude, that was great. You're doing No, that was new this year. That was a thing that we rolled, and I thought it was going to be an awful idea. That's the magic of the rolls, right? That's what God decided. So the one for this year for waiver was live auction waivers. So what that means is that we don't do it through the phones or anything like that. Literally for waivers, it happened on a Zoom call every Tuesday night or Wednesday night? Tuesday night or Wednesday. Yeah, every Tuesday night around 8 p.m. We all hopped on a Zoom together, and if you wanted a player, I automatically went and I had 5 players that were automatically going to be up for bidding. You didn't have to bid on them, but they were up for bidding, and then you could also nominate a player with a minimum bid, and then you just it was just then a live auction from there. So I would say Debo Samuel, and then someone would open a bid with $70, and then Kevin would be like 75, Ali would be like 80, and it just went up from there. And then I would call it like an actual auctioneer. It was so fun, honestly. That was something I thought was going to be a big pain in the ass. I didn't think anyone would show up. I didn't think it would actually be a tool of engagement, but man, it really was. Everybody was participating. It was great. Super fun.
Love it. Now, playing the game, what resources do you guys use? Individually, you guys got any secret weapons? How dedicated are you to content in fantasy, or do you just kind of wing it? I know a couple guys don't take it as serious as others, but they still win. But what resources do you guys use? I'm just curious.
I'm very curious what you use, Sam. Tell me. I want to know. Tell me your secrets.
Inside information, dude. I have my own. I'm developing my models, dude. I'm out here.
Tell me your secrets.
I'm crafting my spreadsheets and graphs, dude. I can't reveal my sources.
It has been interesting though. Since we won this contest, we've been exposed to so many new creators in this space, and so definitely pulling ideas from all kinds of different spaces for this upcoming year. But I think a lot of us are hesitant to reveal our necessary exact recipe of our formula.
Yeah, I'm worried these other guys are going to start engaging, getting information.
That was the best question you've asked. Tell me your secret, Sam. I want to know.
I Google 5 minutes before draft. Best players.
And then you get Justin Jefferson every year.
Did I steal one out of draft card?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Regardless of the rules, Kevin will draft Justin Jefferson in the first round, and he will contend.
Just let him have him.
No
we let him have him every year.
I don't know.
Matter. We always let him have him every year.
I love it.
And I will say, another testament to just like how the roles can really put everybody in contention here. Like I've won this league once, you know, and like not through any shrewd maneuvering of my own, you know, purely just through the grace of the rules that year and some good fortune. But you know, again, like it's anybody's game at any point in time. It really the lottery stuff, all of the engagement stuff that we've been talking about, it keeps you glued in.
It's awesome. Yeah, I was just testing your level of competition. You guys definitely passed. Don't reveal your secrets.
No.
So Papa, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start a fantasy league or improve their league? Like, what's the ground level advice that you'd give?
I would say if you don't think you can do a live draft, you can. Like, I think that's honestly, I think that's the biggest thing that elevated this league to what it is now. You can do a live draft. Obviously, it takes work, but I think people want it. People want to have this type of connection. They want to have this type of experience. And yeah, you might have to grease it up a little bit and really get people excited and sell it. But who doesn't want to spend a long weekend hanging out with the guys, talking football, drinking a little bit, doing a couple fun games, and hanging out with each other. That's really, I think, the biggest thing. And then obviously, yeah, I think this game can be super, super, super creative. To be clear, this role idea and stuff that I have, it's not mine. That's actually one of the Chance, our other league member, really is the one that owns the role side of things. And I think that's the most creative way to do fantasy. And I don't really know anyone else that's doing it like that. But I think if you're even a first timer or a newcomer or have been doing this game for a really, really long time, it keeps everyone involved. So just get creative with it.
I love your emphasis on those roles, because you probably got a sense of Scott Fish's reaction, in some of those, some of his videos. Like he thought that was fantastic, right? And he's seen everything. He's seen everything.
That's what I was saying. I got the biggest eyes when he said, because I'll say this, our playoff lottery role is really, really, really important for the league, and I think it's great, but it's also probably one of our easiest and most basic ideas. I look back on that, I'm like, well, yeah, who wouldn't do that? I could understand why you might not want to play Pokemon and fantasy football at the same time. We do, and it's great. But why would you not want to have this playoff lotto thing? It makes perfect sense. And so I guess what I'm saying is when Fish said that he had never heard of that before, and this is Fish we're talking about, who has seen basically every league that's ever existed, I was like, man, we're pretty crazy. Because that's not even a crazy thing that we do. So yeah, that's cool.
I love it. Now, you guys, obviously, what's the legacy of Alex Papa Staskiel? Let each one of you guys kind of say a few kind words towards your commish.
Judson, why don't you
king? Yeah, Judson, you go first.
I don't know. He's a facilitator. He's I don't know. I feel it's cheap to say Papa, but that's why we call him that,
He's the king. There's a reason he won this crown. We survived Double Devo. We survived COVID. So one thing we didn't, I guess, delve into as much was that during COVID, we're all friends that go way back, and it started with us setting aside a night to play poker online as a way to kind of stay in touch. And Papa was the one in charge who kind of took the lead on organizing those. And then when, we were starting to come out on the other side, because we would do them on Saturday nights when we were truly locked down, right? When there was no other option on Saturday nights. And then once Saturday nights started to open back up again and we started to have less and less of those poker nights, Papa was not going to let us just all of a sudden, disconnect from each other. And that's when really the motivation and the push to have a live draft happened. And so Papa's the one who puts everything together, but he also gets us excited to do it. And so he's the king. Long live the king.
If we if we were villagers in ancient Sumeria and we had just come along with agriculture, he's the one who would be let's farm together. Let's have one guy build the dam and let's have one guy dig the trenches and a couple of guys do the seeds. It would be him. He's the one who would lock it down and get it in order, and we would build him a crown of ancient grains in the same way that he received this trophy smack.
I would say we would have you like trophy neck, like fashion something really nice. For him.
Yeah, trophy wheat, trophy chaff, if you will, back in the day.
Incredible. How about you, Alex? Like, what do you want your legacy to be in the end? In the end,
I didn't know a trophy of ancient grains was on the table. I want that so much. I mean, I think like
I'm writing the role right now.
Yeah, trophy of ancient grains is a great idea. I think for real, like honestly, I can't say enough when this happened, like when these guys made the video and did this. It's funny because like I love these guys so much, I love this league so much, and that was it was validating. So I guess what I would want my like legacy to be is just that we keep doing this. I don't really care about like if this like becomes a thing that people become aware of and they realize like how easy it is to connect with your friends again through a silly game like this. Cool. But the bigger thing to me is that 20 years from now, we're like us, the league, we're still doing it. That's really what I care. That's what my legacy to be.
I love it. Well, guys, anything? No, go ahead.
We'll be in the nursing facility together.
Of course,
playing like some fantasy football.
That's going to be incredible. Guys, anything else that we haven't covered that you want to share before we close things out here?
Nah, man, I think we're good. It's been fun.
At Greenskeeper FF for Roll of the Day. Hit us up on Spotify for the podcast. Saga of Double Debo coming soon. Our past power rankings are up there. Even if you want to just scroll through and see some of the most wild AI-generated football-themed posters for our podcast episodes. Every theme, Judson also pairs with a nice cover for the podcast, whether the theme be characters from Twilight or college football coaches or anything else that you could possibly imagine.
The Drag Race themed one, the RuPaul's Drag Race themed one.
RuPaul's Drag Race
so
themed
good.
episode. Yes. So
that's really good.
Anything you can think of, we'll be out there with a presence as well. And hit us up with your ideas for roles. We're always open to anybody else's ideas as well at Greenskeeper FF.
I love it. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. It was an absolute pleasure. I can't believe you guys are actually real people. I can't believe it. It's so much fun to have you on here. I can't wait to see what's next for you guys in 2025. And congratulations, Papa.
Thank you so much. This contest was so cool.
Of course,
Papa.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast. Until next time, be sure to follow and subscribe to all of FFU's social media accounts for daily content.